OK, it seems not a week goes by in the AFL without a COVID breach, but nothing of the magnitude which warrants a suspension for the rest of the season. But that's exactly what's been handed down to a young Swan, Damo.
Yeah, Elijiah Taylor is the Swan in question, TJ. It is the most blatant, it is the most serious COVID-19 breach, simply because the WA government and WA police is actually now involved in it because of the exemptions that have been given to individuals in Elijiah Taylor's case and the clubs and the people around them. And he had a partner come into the Swans quarantine facility. Now, his partner had served her 14 days of quarantine, so there's no issue from that perspective. But entering the quarantine facilities that the Swans are currently living in Joondalup, while they are still yet to complete the 14 days bill, it's a serious breach of what the exemptions and special treatment that is allowed AFL clubs and its participants by the government.
Sydney are a week in quarantine.
Yep.
And they've got to be there for 2 weeks.
14 days, yeah. And yeah, there was just, it is a breach. And while people asking the question, why did not Nathan Buckley and Steele Sidebottom and others get this type of end-of-season sanction that Elijiah Taylor's got?
Well, why not?
Because of the police involvement from the WA police. They put out a statement saying they're looking into it as well. Because there are extremely special circumstances being provided AFL clubs and people in order to play. And it's effectively, as Andrew Dillon says from the AFL, it's the AFL's licence to play, abiding by these protocols and regulations that are in place in each state.
So did he know it was wrong? Like, was it she snuck in or did she walk through the front door?
It would have had to have known it was transgressing the breaches because it was done in the early hours of the morning. And again, I don't want to be too critical of an individual who's now dealing with his season ended, and the Swans are going to be very supportive of him, and they should be from here. Yeah. But having said all that, the breach is the most serious we've had.
Could something like this have the Western Australian government say, hey, we're done? Could it get to that?
Lordo, this is why they've come down hard. And to your point, yes, another one like this would put it on shaky.
So they've, well, not made an example of him, but read between the lines, they've made an example of him.
Yeah, but they had no choice but to do that.
Yeah.
They're playing matches in Perth until round 14. Beyond that point, it's an unknown. There's no more matches scheduled then. They may have finals. But to Lordy's point, the whole competition is being propped up by these special exemptions and there's a breach.
What's your view on this, Kane?
Well, I think it's an easier call for the AFL to suspend a 4-game player for the rest of the year. It would have been a really tough call for them if it was, a Dustin Martin or a Steele Sidebottom for the indiscretion that he had and he got 4 weeks early on in the year. So I take your point, Damo, and I understand it's different because the government are involved, but it was an easier call for the AFL, the fact that it was a 4-game player and not a superstar of the game.
Is that a fair enough comment?
It is for Kane to have that as a view. I do, though, take the view that even if it had been Dusty Martin, and often I'm a bit sceptical about...
Come on, you reckon Dusty would have been...
I think they would have had to have, TJ. I think they would have had to have. I couldn't see why they wouldn't. I mean, the circumstances around it are very serious. So in terms of the breach of the exemptions that have been granted, I think they would have, but again, to Kane's point, I mean, he's entitled to have that view.
You'd like to think they would, but would they?
I think they would. This is so serious, the game on the line. Yeah, I think they would, yeah.